Texoma Exotics presents Not Another Reptile podcast.
All right. Hello, everybody.
What's going on?
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Thursday.
What's up, Patrick?
Mr. Patrick, how's it going? Dustin, how are you? Now, Dustin, didn't he go to Tinley too?
I did not see Dustin there.
Yeah, I
Okay.
haven't seen him yet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, today we have Steve from Her Python.
How's it
And
going, guys?
Good.
thank you for coming on to the show. I was just
That's a,
discussing backstage. I've seen Steve on TikTok. That's how I ran into him. Watched a few of his videos. I was like, this guy, I mean, he's dropping some knowledge and being positive, and we don't have enough of that right now. And so I really liked it. You know, there's days that I don't want to do YouTube. I don't want to sit here. I don't like being in front of a camera, but I think we have to in this industry to get our name out there. So,
yes,
well, that being
absolutely.
said,
And
go ahead, Steve. With that being said, let's hear what you got to say.
no, I appreciate you guys having me on. I was aware of this podcast from, the before time before Her Pipe, because I, as a beginner keeper, I watched and consumed everything I could on YouTube. And one of my big pieces of advice for people coming up and people that reach out to me is YouTube is probably eventually where you want to end up, because a lot of people aren't aware of this, but Google is the biggest search engine in the country and YouTube is the second biggest.
Mhm.
People go to YouTube for more of their information. So I appreciate you guys and everybody doing this. And again, any knowledge I can get out there to you guys, my brain is yours to pick tonight. So go for it.
So how did you start it, like with reptiles? Like when did you start it? Did you always have reptiles? Did you started a couple of years ago? How did your story started? I think it froze.
Oh, shucks.
Shout out to Shane.
Yay.
Yeah, shout out.
Tyler, how was Tinley?
Tinley was good. Damn, I'm mad he froze. Yeah, Tinley was good. Sold one snake, had a lot of deliveries, rodents and a few snakes pre-sold that dropped off. You took one of them. But yeah, it was pretty good.
How was it traveling that far with, because was it live rodents you took?
Yeah, it was both. It was fine. Yeah, just got them all set up the night before, drove them out there, dropped them off Friday. And
How many hours for you?
like 9-ish.
Oh, it's not bad.
Yeah, so yeah, no, they were totally fine. Got them set up with the person who was taking them Friday, almost right when I got there, and I just called him today to make sure everything was good when he got back, and yeah, it all went quite smooth. So
Awesome.
yeah, it was pretty good. A lot of cool snakes there. Didn't pick anything up, but there was a lot of cool stuff there.
Did you have time to go around on Friday or?
I went around to again my friends' tables and stuff like that. I didn't really search the whole show, but I stopped at almost pretty much all the people that I know, all my friends' tables. I stopped by, I said hi, checked out their stuff. I don't know. I feel like that's when I have more time. That's what I'd like to do more, is just browse every table. But all right, we're back to the cool part. Here we go.
No, it happens.
Unbelievable. That's Wi-Fi for you. That's what happens, especially up here in New York when it's starting to get cold and stuff like that. Everything slows down.
Whoa, New York. We're in New York.
I am about midway between Manhattan and Albany, so I'm right in the Hudson Valley.
Oh, okay. Nice. It's awesome.
So I don't know if you hear the question, but when did you start with reptiles? It was like a new thing. You always had reptiles. Like how did the whole thing started?
Yeah, no, sorry. I started about the same way most kids did that grew up in the 90s, watching Jeff Corwin and Steve Irwin and things like that on Animal Planet. It was only when I discovered that there were reptiles that didn't eat live feeders that I said maybe I could jump into this. So, thinking about things like skinks, uromastyx, things like that. And so I've been a keeper for probably about a year now. As a matter of fact, her pipe started because I was going to be a breeder, and a lot of you, I mean, I'm sure all you guys know, making that decision is a heavy one. And when you really start to look at the overhead, the costs, and everything like that, it can get a little crazy. So I said, I think there are enough breeders out there right now. Is there something else I could bring to the hobby that would help everybody out? And it became this. So
Nice.
That's awesome. What do you keep right now?
right now we got a small collection. I only have two right now. I've got a northern blue tongue, which I took in as a rescue. And then we just got our a few months ago, we got our baby albino superconda hognose. And she is, I never thought I could own a snake, man, but let me tell you, that's been the most enriching and fulfilling experience what I had. So she's awesome. She's probably about 6 months old right now, growing like a weed. So it's a great.
How do you like the blue tongue skinks? I love it.
She's so the blue tongue's a little bit weird right now. She's still kind of getting used to her environment. With the rescue, it came with a 6 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot all glass enclosure. So let's darn well hope I'm gonna love this experience because it's about half my living room right now.
Yep.
So
I have-
I have a question. What
Mhm.
you said, this is what you wanted to do in the reptile industry. Is that something you do that you started before you got into the reptile industry? Was this something you were doing for something else? Do you do it for work?
No, so actually, we're having a good podcast right now, so I won't tell you what I do for my real job, because it instantly sours everything. I work at the DMV, but I but I was a reptile keeper, and I knew that it was one of those things like a lot of us have, where you want to turn your passion into something that you can make money from. The same way a lot of these businesses start. And I said, if there's something I can do in the reptile hobby that isn't necessarily being a breeder, that might still earn money and might still contribute in a way. So I went a different path, and I went to school for business. I was a finance major.
Nice.
And then I took the steps to actually get certified in social media marketing and just consumed everything that I could. Had to take tests and things like that. So this is the end result of that path.
Okay.
That's nice.
You said that you wanted to be a breeder. Like, what were you trying to breed, or what was your thought process, and why did you decide not to breed like too many animals or too much work?
It's not that. So the two animals that I was looking for because I thought there was a need were Chuckwallas and Schneider skinks. Those
Yep.
were the two that I thought there was a decent demand for, that could appeal to more than just the extreme hobbyist that would have some desire from the general public as well. What ultimately turned me against it was realizing how much it was going to cost, because you're talking about two species that require UVB lighting from the jump, can't really be kept in rack systems, and nobody's really cracked Schneider skink breeding yet. So it was going to be a long time before I saw any income. So it was, here's all the money. Now it's going to be a long day before we see a paycheck. So this just seemed like the better option on, how I could connect with something new that people weren't really doing.
Are you going to get a Schneider at least?
I would love to. I have talked to a couple of people who are working on the breeding, but one of my guys down in Pennsylvania, Zeddy's Reptiles, said that he believes that every viable captive bred Schneider skink should be breeders right now, so that they can contribute to the captive bred hobby. Almost like it's irresponsible to own one just as a pet or an ambassador animal. We should really be using those as breeding stock, and I'm willing to go with that. So once they start to come up, we'll do that.
Nice.
Here's your friend Tyler.
Hello, Alex. What's going on, buddy?
Alex. I couldn't think of his name.
Yep.
Well, that's really interesting because, like me, I've been in this for over 4 years now, and I feel like my name is still not out there enough. And this is YouTube and pictures and Facebooks and all the rigmarole websites, and sometimes you just feel like I'm spinning my wheels. So.
Come on, Holly. Everybody knows you. Everybody that should talk to, if you know Holly, they know you. Like you have done a really good job putting yourself out there.
I mean, I think everybody feels like that to a certain degree, unless you're Wickens or Brian Barczyk or Ed and Emily, from Snake Discovery. You all feel like you don't necessarily have the profile that you thought you did. But what I've said in my videos is, if your ultimate goal is to be an influencer and to be on that level, then yeah, you should be worried about those things. But if what you're most interested in is selling your clutches, getting yourself in the hands of new customers and stuff like that, it's not nearly as important how many people are following you or viewing you as what types of people. Are they the right types of people? Are you getting in contact with the right people? And that's so much more important than view numbers and things like that.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
For me, I think one of the most important things, you hit it, was to be able to know, or at least for us breeder wise, who and how many things you can sell, who you can sell to. And it's there's a lot of breeders out there who cannot move animals, don't know how to move animals. And that's where someone who does have the right contacts and knows the right people can. I was having a conversation with a customer of mine today, make a decent amount of money just being a middleman. Well, if that's what you want to do, or whatever you want to call it. But there's even, I'm going to throw him out there, like Alex, right? So I took his entire first clutch when he bred. And it's something that actually someone did for me when I hit my first clutch. It's because, okay, you hit these animals. What exactly am I going to do with them? I don't know other people to sell them to. I don't know this and that. I went to a show. I sold 4 of them in 3 weeks, right? Where it might have taken him months and months, 10 months to sell those same animals, because he wasn't as in it as I was. And that's something that he's, working on right now, and that everyone's working on, is to get to know more people, get contacts and people to sell animals to. But yeah, it's I don't have 30,000 followers or whatever. It's just, the relationships I've built over 10 years, where it's
Right.
like, you make a call and it's like, I can sell stuff, right?
And that's so important. I kind of feel like I've noticed that Morph Market has really changed the game so much on what's out there right now, because the model that was working just 15, 20 years ago is no longer working. And you sort of need a name now. You need those connections. You need trust is so important in this hobby, because, as I said, one of the interesting things about this hobby, especially when you get into high-end morphs and you talk about selling hets, you're selling something nobody can see. You're selling something that you just have to trust. And shed testing is only taking us so far. So trusting the breeder that you're getting from, trusting that the animal's going to eat properly, trusting that, the parents were kept properly and things like that. This is so important, which is why developing a personal brand is extremely valuable for everybody out there who's trying to get into this.
Yeah. Agreed. 100% agreed.
And I think it all starts. So whenever I think we had like 2 snakes, and I'm like, okay, I decided I wanted to breed eventually. And my first thought is, well, company name and logo. Company name and logo. That was so important to me. but I didn't just jump on it right then. I named the company, and then I think it was a year and a half later, I finally had my logo done. And I think a logo is extremely important in this industry because we have to have it on our backdrops and tablecloths and just everything, and do something that's going to stick out. Don't do what everybody else is doing. You know, be yourself, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's the ultimate thing I say is that, you know, you can only copy people for so long before your own self, before you realize it will eventually come out. And I really like people who, one of the best tips I ever heard was from Jason Raimondi of Jason's Exotic Reptiles out in Connecticut. And he said, you know, before you get into this breeding, one of the questions that you should also ask yourself is, what are you going to do with the animals you can't sell? Because the other thing is, these aren't just boxes taking up space in an Amazon warehouse. These are live animals that are going to require heating, lighting, feeding, substrate changes, all these sorts of things. Inventory is more expensive in this industry than it is in most industries.
Mhm.
So the most important thing you can do is try to open that funnel out to people. And I think the sooner you can do that, and by the way, I'll throw this out there too. I think the winter, late autumn and the winter is the best time to jump on top of it, get your brand out there, show your behind the scenes, promote what you've got planning, promote your pairings, so that the demand is built up by the time spring hits and everything's out of brumation, and let's go.
Or you could be like Holly, where she lives, where it's fucking hot all year, so you don't have a 6-month non-shipping clause like we have in New York, where you can't get animals from
That's just
November to
honestly.
yeah, it's horrible. No animals.
Nobody should be able to live in a place that doesn't have seasons. I mean,
I know.
we suffer too much.
I live in southern Oklahoma. I have plenty of seasons.
Yeah,
Hot and hot.
yeah, really hot, kind of hot, not super hot.
That's
When you
right.
can't see out your front door because of the snow, you call me and say, "Hey, it's rough today, Steve."
We don't get a lot of snow here, but we have really bad ice storms.
Yeah.
So
The other thing Patrick just commented, which is huge for people who just got in. Yeah, like I struggle with it even still, where it's like you got to be all right with where you're at and just keep going, because it's not close to an overnight process. Like how many handshakes with the same people you have to do and introduce yourself probably multiple times to people for them to like, oh, okay, I get it, this is who you are, and become semi-familiar or friends with these with people you want to be friends with.
Well, on that same vein, to help one of my brothers out, Gem Exotics is actually Jared from Selective Creations. If you guys haven't seen that, he rebranded. So Selective Creations is still there. He explained it on the last podcast he did, but that's Jared. That's his. That's him.
Yeah,
Jared.
So yeah, for anyone like just getting in, again, Alex is a great example. He's been in like a year and a half, 2 years. It's like 4 years from now, you'll be friends with a lot of people. Right now, you got some friends.
Yes.
You just got to keep going to shows, posting content, and then people will like start to recognize.
Okay, let's say
an overnight process.
Let's say acquaintances. You don't make very many friends in this industry.
That's true, but you definitely can. So yeah, it's tough to really start to again make friends, acquaintances, get yourself known when you want it to happen overnight. You know,
it is crazy, like being on TikTok and scrolling through there, and I'm like, there's all these ladies and gentlemen with their snakes out, and they're like, yeah, we're breeders, and da 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 da. And I'm like, I have never seen this person before. I think this industry is growing so fast that it can't keep up with itself.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
let's keep it going though.
What people don't realize too is that doesn't matter how much money you put into it. You can spend $500,000 if you don't know people. You can produce a $30,000 animal in your first year because you bought adults, whatever it is.
Yep.
You're not going to be able to sell it because people don't know you. And the big guys that have the money to buy them, they're not going to buy it from you because they don't know you. So you have to think about that. Another thing is cost. I was looking at my racks and I was pulling. Before the show, I was pulling all the animals that I had to feed 250 hatchlings.
Yeah,
And I was thinking of a new video that I was going to be how to feed 250 ball python babies on a budget. You don't. End of video.
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah.
So, guys, you have to think of costs, especially if you're not breeding your rodents. It's insane how much. When I started, I had probably on the first 2 years, I had 100 animals already, and I was producing. My rodent bill was like $500 a week.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't even have babies.
Yeah.
So be mindful of that. So building your brand, it's very important before you start trying to breed and sell snakes. So I agree.
Yeah.
And I'll just say this: there are some people out there that say, well, if you're not a breeder, how could you understand what we go through? And my response to that is, if you think it's hard to sell snakes or lizards or tortoises or axolotls or jumping spiders is apparently the new big one that everybody's into, I said, try selling an abstract concept that no one's ever heard of. You know, you imagine me at expos sitting there talking to people about, they're like, what is marketing? I mean, I know what a ball python is. I know what a spotted python is. I don't know what search engine optimization or any of this other stuff is. So we all sort of run into the same thing. But I think I've worked with a couple of people, and I've already gotten in with a few people who are at the stage right now where they have, you know, their breeding stock, the pairs that they're going to make, and they're working on getting that information out there now. And I said that there is a very small selection. The one, I think the word that you always are looking for, if you can, and I think it's the most beautiful word in this hobby, is the word wait list. If you have customers lined up before you have even had a successful clutch, then you're already doing something great, because you know you're not going to have to hold those animals back. You know they're going to the right places and things like that. And that's one of the things I love to see in here, and not just from Snake Discovery, where you actually have to pay for the privilege of buying their animals. Don't we wish we could all get to that level? But, you know, that's just what I see, and I love that idea of getting yourself out there before you even have anything to sell.
That's neat. I like that wait list. That's going to be stuck in my head now. That's going to help me motivate me to take these snake pictures I've been dodging for 2 months now.
Now, I have a question. Hang on. I have a question for you, Holly, because I've gone over some of your stuff. So now I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't I see more of your face in your posts?
My face? I don't like my face in my post.
Okay. But what I've been trying to preach to people, and I understand, and there's so many people that tell me that same thing, but the reason expos still work, even in the day of morph market, is I tell people, we don't buy from pictures. We buy from individuals that we trust. So, you know, I'm not the best looking guy in the world right now. I'm in a kitchen in a suit jacket to make myself look more special and spiffy for this podcast, you know, but I think that we can trust people if we can see them. So if you can turn that corner, if anybody can turn that corner, if you want to upgrade on social media, the one thing your customers would love to see is your face. And if you're willing to show that and let people hear your voice, and not just the newest Cardi B song along with a feeding video of your boa, maybe that works, but it probably doesn't make people want to buy your products or trust you anymore. It's just, hey, there's a Cardi B song and a rat meeting its end.
Yeah. And just my opinion on that too is just never watch it or listen to it again if that is not what you like to do, because I do the same thing. I did not like to be on camera, do anything. So it's like I take the egg cutting video and I never look at it again. It goes up and bam, there. It's like, what'd you hit on egg number 3? I don't know. No idea. And I will never know what I hit on egg number 3 of any clutch I've ever hatched, because I never watched it again. So
that's good thinking.
I watch and I critique myself, and I've got to stop watching it because then I can over critique. But I watch everything that I do and just try to do better next time.
It's funny because when my videos go up, I watch, because I try to improve all the time, and at one point I was like cutting and cutting and cutting. I even have like a bloopers video because like I was in
I
the
love your bloopers videos. Oh my gosh.
15th take, and I was like, you know what? I think it's part of making mistakes is part of being human, and people want to relate to you. So I started not cutting anymore, and then I just make fun of it, and it goes like smoothly instead of just trying to. Especially when you're doing egg cuttings, you cannot cut it.
Yeah, no,
You gotta use it.
I feel like I could make an insane blooper reel from my egg cuttings, just like the minutes before and the minutes after. It would be really bad.
I mean, I'll say this. And this is the truth, especially I'll give you guys what I found on TikTok because this is a dead true story. And obviously Holly found me and that's wonderful. But I had 17 followers. 17. I'll have that number drilled into my head forever. And I had a week that I was taken off from work and I just said, you know what? I'm going to figure out TikTok this week. And that was my goal. I'm just going to dig into TikTok, and I tried AI videos. I tried posting these stories. I was about 30 minutes, I would say, from doing a dance video, just along with my skink. And that's what I was hoping was going to blow me up. And I was on Morph Market and I was scrolling through and I just found myself in this moment really annoyed that there wasn't more captive breeding of Uromastyx. And I said, all these things are wild caught, field collected, farm bred, whatever. So I just opened up my phone, looked at my phone and said, please start captive breeding Uromastyx. I don't know how many times I have to say that. And that ended up being the one that caught traction. Was just a real video that wasn't edited. It had a little bit of text in it, but it was just my feelings about something that I noticed in the hobby poured out, and enough people were on board with that they jumped on behind it. And you know, the rest is history. 700 something followers later in 2 months. So, you know, here we go, I guess.
Right. Well, guys, we're going to take a sponsor break real quick and we'll be right back.
Perfect.
It's Tyler's Just the Tip. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know why I keep hitting that one. I'm going to have to do that.
I don't think
We'll do
that's
that right
sponsored.
after this.
If you need to accelerate your breeding plans, use Charlie at Grey Rider Reptiles for fast and reliable shed testing services. His testing services offer both speed and accuracy, ensuring that you receive dependable results in a timely manner. As a valued customer, he is happy to offer you a 15% discount on your purchase. Visit www.shedtesting.com and use code TEXOMA15 during checkout to take advantage of the offer. Limit of 2 uses per customer.
Python Suzy. He's been professionally fondling pythons since April 2024. Before that, it was just for fun. He has balls and golans, and soon he'll have dwarf Burmese pythons in his collection. He loves dark clowns, leopards, and long walks on the beach with sunsets. He thinks orange dream and blackhead are salt and pepper on a good steak. Hit him up. He'll talk about just about anything. Fuzzy.
Yo.
Boom.
It's Tyler's Just the Tip. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that one's really.
What's your tip, Tyler?
Oh, what's my tip? Check your preloaded ads before you click them. No. Sorry. Sorry. I just had to go for that one. Oh God, I don't know. Give me a topic and I'll give you a tip on
Show tips.
Snake show tips.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't say that one. Before the show, I wouldn't say after the show, but before the show, and when people are set up too, walk around. This fits the show here. Walk around, get to know people, shake their hands, talk about their animals, get to know the people, especially locally. That's pretty big. My big pet peeve is like try and make sure that they're like relatively set up and not mid putting up a banner, or doing something else where they look pretty busy. That's my big tip on that one. But yeah, go around, talk to local breeders, ask them good questions about the stuff that they have. Yeah, get to know your local people at your shows.
Awesome. Jamie, are you ready?
Yeah.
Sure. Yay! So I do jokes. That's my thing because my name starts with J, and we had to make sure everything kind of matches. But so why did the lizard cross the road?
To get to the
To
other
get
side.
to the other side.
To get to the reptile dysfunction clinic.
Okay.
And what is the gecko's favorite movie?
Don't know.
The Lizard of Oz.
Mm.
That was a good one.
The Lizard of Oz. And then what happens if let me think of this one. What happens when a teenager gets hit by a piano? What do you have when a teenager gets hit by a piano? I have teenagers, so this joke is funny. You get an A flat minor.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh,
Are you sure you do jokes?
Yeah, I do. Oh, dad jokes. That's how they are.
That's funny.
Okay.
God.
Where's the trivia? Okay, I got the jokes now. I got an advertisement for Tyler's tip. I thought there was trivia too. I did such a good
honestly,
job on...
Travis did not.
On,
Yeah, he's in the process of moving.
Mhm.
Do you have some trivia stuff for us?
No, listen, I just was like, I was boning up. I did so good on I was listening and I was like, I would have gotten closer to how or what percentage of ball pythons on Morph Market or Hurricanes. I would have won that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
No,
So I felt really, because I said it was probably around 1. I'll tell you what, you know what? I almost want to ask how many people would be closer, but you guys probably know how many ball pythons there are on Morph Market right now.
43,500.
Is it?
Something like that.
Because it was only it was like 38
is
last time I checked. So
34,223.
That's
What did I
awesome.
say? What did I say? 43,000? I got them
Yeah.
mixed up. It was
it was
33.
33,000.
Not 43.
I remember when it was above 60, so that's pretty good.
Yep. Well, they sold, so sorry.
To me, it tells me that a lot of people are being more careful on the breeding. Like, even though having 37 clutches this year, I was much more selective. I had a bunch of females that I didn't breed just because I didn't want to have babies just for having them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chat, if you have any questions for Steve, drop it in the chat and I'll pull it up on the screen.
So, Steve, I got a question for you.
Bring it on.
What's your goal? With what you're doing right now, like, where do you want to grow to? What do you want to be able to do? Like, is it a make income off of doing this and leave the DMV, or like what's your dream to do in the industry? You know what I mean?
Ultimately, I would love to be the guy who, ultimately, would I like it to be a full-time career? Yes. Would it be difficult? I'll tell you, I love the marketing side of things and I hate the technology side of things. Drives me crazy sometimes, integrating something with the DNS server on my domain name. I just wanted to send an email, for God's sakes. But I will say that I think the biggest thing that I started was an area of necessity. It all came about because I had clicked through the vendor list at the Capital Region Reptile Expo up here, and I kept finding dead Instagram links, website under construction, all these things. And I says, God, are none of these people online? So yeah, if it could be a full-time job, fine. If I don't have to ask the question, should I buy a Blue Tree monitor? Yeah, I got dispensable income. That would be great. Let me go set up that enclosure right now. I think that would be great. I would love to ultimately take this into education. I love the teaching side of things. I love to explain complex concepts simply. I work for the DMV, for Christ's sake. It's what I do from morning, noon, and night, is explain complex things simply to people. So that would be something I would love. For now, really, I'll settle for just letting people know that this thing exists and this is something that you don't think you need, but you do.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's being a specialty, marketing specialty for reptiles, or just the industry, reptile industry, pet industry. It's a big need, mostly in the reptile industry. I think a lot of industries are much, much farther ahead of us on that side, becoming well-known mainstream type of businesses. Obviously, dogs, cats, even like fish and birds are way ahead of us professionally. But we're the fastest growing pet section in the world right now. Year over year, we're growing quicker than dogs and cats are. But we're behind severely on professional marketing.
It is true. And one of the things that I've found that's very unusual about this hobby is, if you think about dog breeds, because you mentioned dogs. So if you think about dog breeds, and there are people that are breeding dogs, and for years, purebred dogs were a big thing. Now imagine all of a sudden dog breeders only have yellow Labradors and French Bulldogs, and that's it. Every once in a while, you can find some other things, but everything out there is yellow Labs and slightly different colored yellow Labs and yellow Labs with spots and French Bulldogs with spots. And to see two breeds take over everything, I think that's the unique thing that's happened with ball pythons and crested geckos.
Yep.
Is that these two species have taken over the hobby so much more. I was going to make a video, or I started making a video about what animals I would start breeding today. One of them was going to be leopard geckos.
Yeah.
You know how much leopard geckos have fallen off because everybody has gone this other route and stuff like that? So I think this is so unique, but there's no reason that the reptile industry can't use the same tactics that the bigger businesses and the bigger pet industries are using. I mean, look at what Who's a Good Lizard did on Instagram. Are you kidding me with that number of followers? A bearded dragon at a dollhouse table. It's a dumb idea, but boy, is it great. Look at how well it blew up.
Yeah.
So I just think right now this industry is really still stuck in a mindset of, I'm going to breed, I'm going to show up at an expo, I'm going to meet enough people and sell enough of my clutches, and that's going to be enough. When we went from 10 years ago, only 60 something people had smartphones. Now it's over 90 people, because a lot of the older people, and that includes the older people in the reptile industry, are sort of dying off, and the new buyers are all people that grew up as teens living on their smartphone.
Yep.
So marketing's not an evil word, neither is social media. Spread the word.
So do you replicate whatever you do on TikTok, on Instagram, and YouTube? Like, do you just copy and use like different stuff? Like, how do you present yourself in different social media platforms?
I started to diversify a little bit because, like I said, what I noticed was that sometimes I might have a highly produced video that would go great on Instagram, but it flopped on TikTok. But then on TikTok, I made a rant about something that I was noticing, or giving somebody some quick inspirational message while sitting behind the wheel of my car, and it's got a couple of thousand views. So I'm learning that the different platforms do different things. But it is very easy, and everybody should be. If you make a 60-second video on TikTok, there's no reason not to upload that to Instagram, which will also turn it into a Facebook video automatically if your meta is connected, and then upload it as a YouTube short as well. There's no reason not to.
That's what I do.
And I think that's a fine idea, but what you notice is that certain videos catch on some platforms and some don't. But I can tell you this for 100% fact, and all of the experts will tell you this, nothing is catching on all formats like stories.
Yeah.
One of my biggest videos with the most reactions was just a story about a coworker who talked to me about her husband killing a snake just because he didn't understand what the snake was and what it did. And that video got more views, more retention, more likes, more shares, because that was an engaging story that everybody was into. So if you can tell, it doesn't even need to be your story, it can just be a story that can really grip people.
I have another question for you, and it's something you might not exactly know because you're not selling stuff.
I'll pretend I do, though.
What platform? Well, TikTok and Instagram. I'll just keep it those two because I think those
Sure.
are the ones you're biggest on. Is better for actually making sales, not just marketing, getting your name out there, getting a high follower count.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know from some people I've heard one a lot more than the other. I just want to know your opinion on which one's like, okay, I got 50,000 followers here, but I sell 2 snakes, or I have 1,000 followers here, but I sell 20.
Mm-hmm.
What's your opinion on that?
I will tell you that even in my experience, as far as the people that are actually interested in converting themselves into customers, it's primarily Instagram over TikTok. My follower count is a lot higher on TikTok, but the people that engage with me directly and want to use my services are more on Instagram. So I will tell you the funnel that a lot of people recommend, and you guys would probably know that this sounds like a smart idea, is, you can blow up as much as you can on TikTok and then try to funnel those TikTok people into your Instagram. And the biggest way you may find that you make direct sales from people is probably through email.
Mm-hmm.
Old, tried and true, but that is out there. Now, if you want to blow up, if you want to be an influencer, because that's the other group I talk to a lot, I think, like I said, it's going to be YouTube that's really going to become what gets people out there. But conversion to customers, I think all the studies show that it's Instagram over TikTok.
Cool. That's what I've heard a lot as well. So I just wanted to see if you were on the same wavelength as some of the people I've talked to as well. And it's
100%. Now, I can't speak intelligently because I'm a middle-aged man about Discord, but maybe that's a thing. LinkedIn makes me scratch my head because it's all about whether or not you know people. And literally, you can't get into a room unless you know people. But, you mentioned that I'm big on Instagram and TikTok. I will give you guys one analogy that I've heard. Now, I don't think it's a bad idea to post on every format that you can, especially, like I said, you get the free Facebook post out of posting something on Instagram. So there's no reason not to do that. But trying to stay active and engaging on 5 different platforms at one time is like trying to be entertaining a party host in 5 different rooms at once. You just can't split yourself that much. You don't have the time. No one's that charismatic, so focus on at least 1 or 2 and then expand to another one and sort of bring that into the fold as time goes on. Is my best recommendation.
Tyler, after you do the egg cutting, do you do updates on the clutch or no?
I did for a bit. No, I don't. Again, I probably should, but
because that's something that I noticed too, that people want connection and they want to relate. They want to tell people, look at this video I bought. That snake in the egg? This is my snake on the next video. So especially on the more of the pet quality snakes, people want to have that connection. They want to show people their pet and their pet getting out of the egg and their pet like after it's grown. So to me, it's bringing results. Posting the updates.
Yeah, my favorite person in like the style. It's not actually the person, but the style of video who does their egg cuttings is Will and Audra from Flawless. they do the, okay, these are the parents, this is the pairing, they cut the eggs, bam, jump cut to post shed, he sexes them right there. You like, I know I've thought about doing the same thing myself, but that's a lot, obviously that's a YouTube thing, not an Instagram thing, and that is time.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna do that, but what happens is you have to keep the videos. So you show the female and eggs, and then you're putting out the eggs, and then you have to keep like folders with every clutch, and I do everything from my phone.
Yep.
So what I do is I look at I go back to my video. So this week I'm gonna do the update for clutch so and so. So I go back and I record a new video. To me, it's easier, even though people like to see the whole thing.
Yeah. Trust me, if I had more time, that's something I've been thinking about for a long time.
Or if you're old like me, get calendars.
Yeah.
These things, yeah. I went from Samsung to iPhone, and I can even create a folder on iPhone. I miss my Samsung.
Yeah. I forgot who I told. It was like, okay, when I'm out of high school, I'll make a YouTube. And I got into college. And then I was like, okay, when I'm done with school, I'll make a YouTube. Then I opened Fuzzy Acres. And it's like, okay, I'm doing nothing else other than this. So we'll wait.
Well, I mean, the good idea about, following a clutch all the way through is, is what is it? It's a story. And it's a story that if your customers can eventually take part in. Just as a dumb example, my wife is a Patreon for snake discovery, not me. No, I would never. I'm far too cool for that. But, and when we were looking at, because they eventually ran out of their wait list and they said, okay, now we're going to give out to Patreon and stuff like that. I could say, hey, this snake, this baby is not just a Western hognose, Arctic conda. It's the product of bacon and jam. And I've seen videos about them. I know them. I mean, I'll give you a goofy example. There's a guy, I want to say he's from Georgia. If he's not, he needs to check his accent. His name is Wandering Arrow. And he did a series of TikTok posts that were all about his Leachianus gecko having an abscess, the one that he just got, and having to give them the injections and things like that. I was more tuned into that than anything I was binging on Netflix that week. I was all about the injections on this animal and things like that, hoping that the animal pulled through and became okay and things. So if you can build a story around your animals, then the customers can take part in the end of the story by actually having one of those. Now, is that hard if you have 700 babies? Yes. Okay, if you're producing that many clutches per year, can you make stories about all of them? No, who could? But that maybe your story becomes more important. And you're not just buying this, banana pie, het clown, whatever. I don't even know if that's a combination that can happen. I'm not a ball python beater, but
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. I'll take
That's
it.
a good one, yeah.
Holly hates it. No. Holly just doesn't like bananas. It's all right. But I love them.
I will tell you guys, you want to hear my hot take that's going to get me kicked off the podcast real quick? And I was going to post it on TikTok and then just leave the app for 48 hours and just post, sorry guys, but I think that the best morph/color type for ball pythons in the world is wild or normal type. Click.
Bam.
And then just run away. Which is a lie, by the way. I'm a sucker for VPI Exanthic as well. But
Okay.
but I think if you can make a story about you, and make the story about you, and don't be afraid to show people your struggles. I love Jason's Exotic Reptiles talking about, he did a whole whiteboard presentation on exactly how much it costs to be a breeder, and how you scale up. And do you then spend that money and go on vacation, or do you buy higher end morphs? Do you go out and get a Sunglow boa or something like that and start producing $10,000 animals? And if you did, what would you do with them? So I think tell your story, tell the story of your animals if you can, and that's plenty engaging.
Yeah, Jason is an example. I think it has been on the last 6 to 8 months that he became more professional. Like he said, this is my new camera, this is my new setup, lighting and everything. and he made everything more professional, and it looks good. I mean, he's getting results. So
Yeah, I've had conversations with him, and he's the first one that actually told me about, like, when I first started this project, he's one of the first ones I reached out to and said, is this even a good idea? Because if nothing else, I trusted his knowledge and his presence in this industry, because most of the videos he were making were about business. They were about the business side of things. And so few people were talking about that, and kind of having his blessing, his, yes, you're doing the right thing, jump on it, do it, we need you so badly. But he talked about a story about a breeder who actually hired a social media management company to help sell boas and small python species to run their whole social media. And then within a month or so, they were posting pictures of cobras. And he went, what? No, what is this? You know, and they're like, well, it's a snake. So when you work with anybody in this business, it's really important that they understand the language, you know, and that they understand why it might be easier to sell spotted pythons than it is to sell ball pythons right now, because of all the hipsters that will just never own a ball python, you know, and our gargoyles coming up have Leachianus geckos reach their limits. You know, people that speak the language know about the whole industry.
yeah, another guy that kind of inspires me is Clint from Clint Reptiles. I think he should start doing ASMR too. Like, he has like this soft tone voice, and then you're just like, it's kind of soothing. So that's part of it too. You have to have different things to engage people. Like, he's very soft spoken. He's very knowledgeable. He doesn't breed a lot, as far as I know, but he's an educational guy. So I think that's very important in the industry, just like what you're doing now.
I would say the thing about Clint, and this is truth, I'll make the confession. I've fallen asleep more times listening to Clint's voice than probably my wife's, and it's a close competition because I doze off when she talks all the time. But like every once in a while when I need to fall asleep, I'll, you know, watch Clint, and he's, well, hi there. We're gonna take 2 hours and talk about every single boa species. Neat, huh? And I'm out in 5 minutes.
Yeah, me too.
Not because I'm not interested, but just because I'm like, oh, that's nice. Look at the dwarf Kenyan samba, you know,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things.
You can do Clint or Bob Ross.
That Bob Ross was for about 9 months. That was what I took instead of eating dessert to get myself to sleep. So it's much healthier watching happy little trees and the little bushes that nobody knows about. Somebody
Happy
should
little
feed
lights,
happy
too.
little boas,
Happy little boas.
happy little snakes.
That's
I mean,
great.
having, for example, Holly do like designs, like logos, and it's good to have someone from the industry. When I was creating my logo, I went to Fiverr, and it took me forever because the person didn't understand the concept. Like, they don't know like the anatomy of a snake. They don't know anything. So it's hard for someone that is not in the industry to fulfill. And I didn't want to do nothing against creating a logo with AI, but it kind of all like look the same. Like, you want something that is like personalized to your liking, to your personality. So if you find someone just like Holly that is from the industry, and the same thing with banners, like everything that you're gonna do, if you can find someone in the industry that does it, you're gonna have better results.
And what I want to say about that, and by the way, doing design things is great. One of my videos that's actually, I think it's the one with the most views right now, says you don't need to be a breeder to make money in this hobby. And, you know, not that there's anything wrong with breeding, but there are other ways to do it. You know, people who can be educators. I was at an expo up in Albany, and I met a woman whose talent is that she paints the face plates of Xbox and PlayStation controllers. And that's just what she does. And she said, there's no way to turn that into something you can use in the reptile hobby. And I went, why wouldn't you paint custom backgrounds for people's enclosures? And it was just this aha moment for her. It's like, oh, I forgot I could do that. Like, yeah, make it look like an Australian desert. I would put that in my house behind my skink enclosure. So I tell people you could be educators. We definitely need more pet sitters, because we need more people who's willing to come over and feed a frozen thawed rat to a giant, python. People who walk your dog, but, watch them do that.
That's the pro, though. That's why they're so cool. You don't need, for the snakes, at least. I'll leave for 2 weeks. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's why they're better than dogs. But skinks, you need a pet sitter. Any lizard, really.
Yeah, but I mean, what I would love to do, or what I would love to see anybody do, hey, anybody watching, you want an idea that I think would cross over and would blow up,
I'm waiting.
that would really cause controversy? And yeah, take your species that you like. Let's say my species is the northern blue-tongued skinks. I'm going to go out and I'm going to make a video and go, here are 3 reasons northern blue-tongued skinks are better than dogs.
Yeah.
Shots fired, but then defend your point. But then you're going to have people that are dog people attacking you in the comments. Go ahead, bring in the energy, because then the people in the reptile hobby will defend you and say, yeah, but a skink eats dog food. So, I mean, you can branch out and, but always the thing that I would tell people is just always defend the hobby. Always defend what you do. Educate, be a teacher if you can. We can tell other people, especially people in apartments, did you know there's a pet that's cool you can handle and you only have to feed it once every 2 weeks? Wow, awesome. What's it called? There you go.
Man, you're dropping some really good ideas.
Yeah, and I'm giving this all away for free right now. My business coach is going to kill me for this. I hope nobody watches this podcast. God.
So the $1 million question, did you buy your hog nose from Snake Discovery?
No, as a matter of fact, I went on Morph Market. I will admit that I did. And the reason is because we said if we got a hognose, we only wanted an albino superconda, because what's cooler than having a solid orange snake?
It's awesome.
It's an awesome, and we wanted to get a female because we wanted one that was going to grow bigger, and then we had a little bit more. But then I reached out. I talked to a guy. It was Parsons Pythons. I'll shout him out up in New Hampshire.
Yep.
And I connected with him. He turned around and he gave me all of the information about this is what the feeding schedule is on. Came with the card saying these are the exact temps we're keeping it at. This is the humidity we're keeping them at. This is our, frequency of fuzzy feeding, and go from there. And nobody could get that information from Petco or PetSmart. Sorry.
Right.
That's a connection that you need. So no, I didn't buy anything from Snake Discovery, not because I have anything wrong with what they're doing, but I wanted that sort of instant interaction. And if I picked up the phone to say, hey, 2 feedings in a row, she's not taking her food, what's up? Someone's going to be on the other end.
Yep.
And that means so much to me as a buyer and a person in this hobby. And I've met so many people that will do that. And one of my biggest lessons is marketing does not end at the sale. Yeah. Because marketing is the art of turning strangers into friends, friends into customers, and then customers into fans who are going to shout you out in the future. And that's how you build a fandom out of your customers.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Nice. All right, guys. Well, we're right at an hour. So, Steve, thank you so much for all your knowledge and your time. It means a lot to us. Guys. Thanks, everybody. And I will see you backstage.
Yep.